Crime series has prompted new calls for the Baltimore archdiocese to release documents about a controversial priest. The Keepers is a Netflix documentary series following Father Joseph Maskell and his alleged abuse of teenage girls at a Catholic high school. It explores whether Maskell, who died in 2001, was connected to the unsolved murder of a nun. More than 40,000 people have signed an online petition since the documentary's release. Jan Crawford shows us how the series is putting pressure on the church to release its files on Maskell.
When I heard what happened, there was no doubt in my mind that Maskell did that.
The Netflix series, The Keepers, begins with the unsolved murder of a nun, Sister Kathy Sesnick. Sesnick was a beloved teacher at an all-girls Catholic high school in Baltimore in the 1960s. She was murdered in November of 1969. Her body discovered in a landfill outside the city.
The nun had died of blunt force trauma to one side of her head.
The series explores the theory that she was killed after finding out that the school chaplain, Father Joseph Maskell, was allegedly sexually abusing students at the school. And it raises questions about whether Maskell was connected to Sesnick's murder to prevent her from exposing him.
He said to me, if you tell anyone, I'm going to shoot you. Case closed. There's Maskell.
Teresa Lancaster says she was abused by Maskell when she was in high school. She was one of two women who filed a $40 million lawsuit against him and the Archdiocese of Baltimore more than 20 years ago. The suit was thrown out because the statute of limitations had passed. She hopes the renewed public interest in the online petition will put pressure on the church to make the priest's file public.
If those were released, what would that mean?
That would mean the world to me. That, in and of itself, would be the church taking a positive step. It would be them coming clean, so to speak.
To my knowledge, the church has never voluntarily released any documents pertaining to the clergy abuse crisis.
Terry McKiernan's organization, which has no affiliation with the church, has published abuse documents from about a dozen archdioceses and religious orders, but says in each case the files were released only after the church was legally forced to do so. The Baltimore Archdiocese has paid nearly $500,000 to more than a dozen people Maskell is accused of abusing. In a statement, they say state law and church policy precludes them from releasing his records, as they include personnel records, health records, and attorney-client communications. The Keepers is just the latest crime drama to lead to public outcry over perceived injustices. The podcast Serial, along with television series like The Jinx and Making a Murderer, have both pushed audiences to dissect evidence on social media and led to re-examination in each case. The Keepers series director Ryan White says the audience could now be a critical component to accessing Maskell's file and cracking the case.
The amount of information that is coming in now from the documentary, the amount of people willing to speak up, makes me very hopeful that we can still solve this murder and also receive some justice for these child sex abuse victims.
For CBS This Morning, Jan Crawford, Baltimore.
Wow, it just shows you the power of a documentary.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah.
We just have to see if this evidence is admissible in court now.
Absolutely.